It's currently 12:45 a.m. and I am in a chatty mood. You ever get like that? It's ever around the hours of, I'm gonna say 12 to 4:30 ish in the morning, and you really just want to talk. And when it was like 3 to 8 in the afternoon to evening, you didn't want to say a fucking thing. That was me today. But maybe I'll tell a little bit of a story. So I had suffered with agoraphobia. It started around when I was 18. I used to go to public school. And when I was around 17, my senior year of high school, we had to do like a serious check-in on my grades, because since about sophomore year, I had just started ditching school all the time. I eventually never went, and it got so bad, and my teachers, my whole support system just desperately wanted me to get through school. We did all kinds of stuff. Put me on this IEP program, which was pretty cool. Still didn't work. They put me on a reduced schedule where I was only going to like 4 classes a day. Still was too long. And I was just running with the wrong crowd at the time, I suppose. Like, I'd go to my like first period on Fridays specifically. Before we get into like the story I want to tell, but I used to specifically go on Fridays to my first period, which was U.S. history, because we were taking quizzes, and I was never going to class, so I was never studying. But the IEP program has simplified textbooks, which is really convenient because it was just super easy to retain information and learn with simplified text, truly. And there was this other kid in my class, and we would low-key have like this like unspoken competition with one another to see who can turn our test in first. And I would go in. I'd go into school around like 6:30 a.m. I'd wait for my teacher to get there around 6:45, sometimes 7 a.m. And then I would study until class started around 8 a.m. And I would just blaze through the entire chapter. Again, simplified textbooks, everything was highlighted. And I had pretty good memory retention at the time, just before the pot fucked me up. And then we would take the test, and it was always like, we were always neck and neck. Sometimes I would turn my test in first. Sometimes he would turn his test in first. But it was kind of fun. It's not the funnest part of high school that I can remember, honestly. But anyways, senior year came, and I had, shamefully, 25 credits. Which means, and I think that I had only actually gotten credits for maybe freshman year at that time. So in the first week, I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna drop out. And I had dropped out junior and sophomore year, but like towards the last couple of months. But this time I was like, I'm really gonna drop out. But then I enrolled myself into a homeschooling program, like a charter school. And then until I was about 20-ish, I was just working on getting all my credits back up, homeschooling program, independent studies, I believe is what it's actually called, until I was able to graduate, like really graduate, not just get my GED. And that was really hard. I did every single fucking class from sophomore to senior year. I had stacks of textbooks on my desk. I had a math tutor who would come in, and there was like my caseworker who would help me with my essays and shit like that, which I was always good at, but it's always good to have somebody look over your work. And during that time, shortly after I started this program, I had cut myself off from my friends group that I was with at the time. And the thing was, when I was about 15, when I met this group, these were all older people who weren't in high school anymore. We'll just leave it at that. And I was really focusing on my studies at the time. And I suppose in retrospect, I realized, like, as cool as it was hanging out all day, this was not the type of friend group that was going to support me. So I had to cut them all off. And my best friend at the time wasn't living in state anymore. I think she had moved out like a couple months before my senior year started. And with no friends. And I had this strong focus on academics. And I wanted to go to college. Like, to me at the time, I was like a fucking pipe dream. Me, go to college? I never even showed up for a single fucking class. You know what I mean? And up until that point that I enrolled in the homeschooling program, I never, ever, ever, ever did homework. Ever. Like, in PE, you know those types of kids who just don't participate at all? That was me. Like, never participated in anything. Mostly due to intellectual insecurities, I suppose. Not that I'm particularly stupid, but I never had a motivation. And suddenly I had this drive. I was like, college, I could fucking do it. It's actually a lot easier to get into college than you think. But without any friends and with like a strong focus on my new goal, first goal I probably ever actually set in my life, I isolated a lot. I think this is the beginning of my isolation journey. I'm still in it. I'm a hermit through and through, 100% truly. I've always spent my time alone. I'm an only child, so I never really had friends. I mean, I did, but like not the type of friends that would like come over, or I would go over to their house or like go and do stuff with. And I was raised by a single mother, so there was never really anybody home. And even in my younger days, I just didn't have anybody. So spending time alone is not new to me. And in high school, I think one of the reasons I ended up just like saying fuck school is because like I found people to hang out with like all day, which was so fucking new to me. I'd wake up and then I'd immediately go to my friend's house, and I wouldn't come home until it was like time for me to go to bed or time for me to come home. My mom had a rule when the sun started going down, time to go home. Or when the street lights were on, it was time to go home. So, but that was really exciting for me. Now, I'm about 17 now, homeschooling program, no friends, just study all day. It was the only thing I fucking did. And this was for a couple years, and during that time, I want to say around like 18, 19, I was full-blown agoraphobic. Before this, I spent every day of my life outside, at parks, running around my city, under the clouds and the stars and the sun and the moon and nature. And suddenly it was just 4 bone white walls. And they slowly started closing in on me. It was so bad for a couple years, I couldn't even walk outside my front door to smoke a cigarette. Unless it was nighttime and I knew all my neighbors were asleep, I would probably go out to the front and I'd chain smoke as many cigarettes as I could, as fast as I could, before anybody would see me. I think there was a time I probably didn't go to a store, like a grocery store, a clothing store. And I very rarely went out. And when I did, it was with family, and every time I did, I was fucking blasted, dude. I was like super stoned, or I was like on some other shit, or I was like drinking, just to make the experience bearable. And that got better my first day of college, because I got into college, a Delta college out here in the neighboring city. And I really, really pushed myself to fix this agoraphobic habit. So I moved out of my house. I moved in with my grandma because she lived where my college is at, like it's like a 5-minute drive, which was actually like a 30-minute bus ride. But you know, buses. And I went to campus, and I think that was like the first time in a long time that I was able to like reconnect with nature a little bit, because that campus is like covered with trees, and they have like their own genetically modified black squirrels, and like as a alt girly, we love that. And it was really cool. Unfortunately, this was like 2019, 2020, and COVID hit. And okay, so here's the thing about COVID. I heard it was like the first week before COVID was even in America. I was reading this news report about what was happening in China. I was like, there's a fucking virus that's infecting everybody in China. And they had sent passengers, the American citizens from China, to the United States. And the city that those passengers landed in was like a couple hours outside of the city I was at in California. And I was like, oh, dude, we're fucked. And being agoraphobic, having intense paranoias and fears, and agoraphobia comes with like I studied psychology for 5 years. Why do I always forget this one fucking word? Not a combustion, not a culmination, a comorbidity. It has a comorbidity of different illnesses on top of it: anxiety, depression, mania. I'm bipolar, so my paranoia spiked for good fucking reason. The second I read that report, I was like, there is no fucking way I'm going to fucking school when we got these fucking people carrying this fucking virus shit. Yeah, they were in quarantine. What happened? What happened? I'm not saying these four infected the entire United States, but I smelt that shit coming a mile away. I think it was actually like 10 miles away. I don't even know how fucking it could have been, like 50 miles away. I don't know. And I think that's kind of what set me on edge again, was that paranoia. And then the COVID lockdown shit happened. And so then I really couldn't go back to college. And then everything was back into homeschooling. And the way my grandma's house is set up, it's like a fucking prison. No, I'm kidding. It's actually really secure. Like, very protective walls around it. Really tall gate that covers the whole place. So I was like back in these four walls again. And naturally, my agoraphobic habits, tendencies, fears, they came out of me. Fortunately, my best friend came back to California for a little while, and I think that helped me a lot through that time. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. I didn't even have a fucking car, but I was no stranger to city buses either, I suppose. And lockdown, there's nobody in the fucking streets. What's there to be scared of? There was this part of me that really wanted to wild out, like the good old days. But I continued to buckle down. I think I got my first Xbox One, 2 at the time, so your girl was just Minecrafting it up all day. And then I got like a really cool online social group. It was also super helpful at the time too. I was doing really good in school. Like really, really good in school. I didn't know I really liked school until I got into college, where I was like, fuck, I can learn about all the shit I want to learn about. I can like have intellectual conversations and debates with people who are experts in their fucking field. You know what I mean? I could have conversations with classmates and all these other people. It was a lot of fun. And I think that the lockdown for me was quite a blessing in disguise. Who knows how that shit would have ended up, honestly. But again, the agoraphobia came back, and all this shit happened. I got super stressed out, mostly because my best friend at the time was just like, her shit was kind of like, I've always had this tenacity to kind of take on other people's stuff, energetically, psychologically, emotionally. I've always been a vessel of sorts for people going through some heavy shit. So naturally, I was thinking about her problems a lot in the back of my mind, and as her problems piled up and my problems piled up, I was just, this fucking weight was crushing me. It was absolutely fucking crushing me to my fucking bones, and I didn't even know how to talk about it. I didn't even know how to scream about it. And I was writing a lot at the time again, but I couldn't even fucking write about it. I didn't know how to express all of those feelings like I do now with like my little blog here. So I did the most cowardice thing I could do, and I ran back home without telling her. And then I got a job, which was like the worst fucking thing for me to do. I dropped out of college. I got a job, like the worst fucking place possible. I was a front desk at a hotel, and if you ever worked front desk before and you're working the night shift, then you know what the fuck I'm talking about, because that shit is brutal. I mean, I worked there for like 6-7 months maybe, and I was working 16-hour days at least 3 times a week. I wasn't fucking sleeping. I was like gaining weight because I was just eating takeout all the time, sitting at a fucking desk. Agoraphobia came back. I switched cigarettes for vapes, which isn't any better, but I stink less, so. And like, I had my first situationship ever happened. I like never really engaged in all that shit romantically, never really put myself out there, and a piece of me died during that situationship, and it was a lot. And then I quit that job, and then I wasn't going to school, and I was agoraphobic, and naturally I became a NEET. Hikikomori. I really super resonated with that shit. If you know the song Hikikomori by Crywink, that was my jam. Okay, anything by Crywink, that was my life. Okay, like every fucking song resonated. And my depression got worse, and it spiraled, and my mania was like it was getting worse and worse and worse, and these self-destructive actions were just pew 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 pew. Like, fuck, man, I stopped self-harming years ago, but I was just doing it in new and creative ways. Like, it's just really fucking, I was really hurting. I was going through all this like alone. Never knew how to talk about stuff. I loathe therapists. I studied psychology myself, but even the Bible says that you cannot save yourself unless you're Dr. fucking House. In Dr. House, I am not, but I am a mad scientist, kind of like PB a little bit. Yeah, I like to fuck around. Find out. Haven't created any sentient beings yet, but one day I'll perfect my homunculus. Anyways, and this went on for a couple years. This was like, I was like 22 now, around this time period. 21 going on to 22. And around 23, the situationship happened. It fucking broke me. I quit my job. I became a NEET. And around 24, I had like this awakening of sorts. I really like metal. I like punk. I like music. I love music. I love art. I love poetry. And my entire life, I never really had the chance to engage with that. The aesthetics of my soul are underground garage shows. Like, truly. But the aesthetic of my life up until that point was, I want to say around to like 18, 19 was more like street shit, like hood shit, and it's just not me. It's just not my vibe. I don't really fuck with it like that. And so there was like this desperate craving to really dive into things that interest me. For once in my fucking life, I was going to figure out how I can get out there. I can do things that I want to do. So I spent the year planning. Who plans for a fucking year to go to a local garage band? I don't know. Agoraphobes, of course. I had a lot of demons to deal with, a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of suicidal ideations. Struggled with that my whole life. Since I was about 6 years old, I have struggled with the thoughts of harming myself. And 25 hit. I had a pre-midlife crisis. Quarter of my life had just flown by. And I hated everything. I hated the world. I hated myself. I hated everybody around me. Which is sad. It's really fucking sad. The first 5 years of my 20 felt like they were just rotting away. Like I was stagnating. And that word triggered the fuck out of me. Before it even clicked to me that I was stagnating, like I would see that word and I would just like get so viscerally fucking angry. But I got another job. I started working at a liquor store. And the self-destructive urges didn't go away, but I was trying to figure out how to do something healthy with them. After that situationship around 23, 24, I got into art. Got into watercolor painting. So I spent a lot of time doing art stuff. And I've always drawn and shit like that. But I've always drawn out of boredom. Never as a way to express myself. I've always also made music as well. Again, out of boredom, just to see if I can do it type shit. Like, my first couple songs were, like, all anime based. One song, which is Long Lost to the Echoes of Times, after I think it hit, like, 25k views on SoundCloud, I was like, this shit's gotta go. There is no fucking way this is gonna be my legacy. But it was called Fujoshi Sickness. And it was about yaoi. So, there's that, right? It wasn't really anything, like, from the soul. And then my art was like yaoi or anime. I did I made comics for a little while. A lot of those just kind of disappeared. And it started with watercoloring flowers, which is ironic at the time. I didn't think about it this way, but in reflection, I can see that I was planting seeds. These little seeds. And I was watering them every day. These little tiny seeds. Beautiful flowers. Oh. And then I started getting into graffiti. I fucking love graffiti. Always like been fascinated by it, especially wild style. Before I figured it out, I would spend hours looking at like graffiti around my town and stuff like that, like in high school and shit. Just anywhere. I just was always really drawn to it. So then I started practicing graffiti. I was working at a liquor store. I was working nights. I was getting off of work at like 11 o'clock, which is typical. I've somehow always end up working night shifts. And it all started with one impulsive decision after a second situationship that drove my mania up. Absolutely fucking lost my goddamn mind. I used to think I had gone crazy. I mean, like, hear voices, see shadows type crazy. But this relationship fucking shattered me. Was the tower in my life. And to feel alive, I felt like I had to do something crazy. And the craziest thing I can think to do was buy some fucking spray paint cans and do some graffiti. And that's what I did. I snuck out at like 2 in the morning of my house. As a 25-year-old woman, I snuck out of my house. Yeah, it's weird to say. And then I blasted some shit. Let me see if I can pull up a picture. One of my things, I have a brand that I'm in the middle of making. Just actually coming together quite well these days. All around bears. I'll have some stickers coming out soon. If anybody here would be interested in seeing that. Hold on, I'm trying to look for it in here. Maybe. Oh, I don't know where that's at, but this is like some graffiti shit that I was fucking with at the time. I'm not the best at it, but to be real, I'm pretty fucking good. It says Rapture. Got a lot of random cardboard boxes around my house. Just covered in art. Oh, right here. This was the night that I did that. I blasted my brand on a power box in the middle of the night. Just crazy for me. Like, I suited up in all black. I think I had a black face mask on. I had black rubber gloves on. Wore my hood, and then I finished blasting that. And then out of fucking nowhere, a security guard walks up to me and he's like, "What are you doing out here?" I was like, I don't know. And then he's like, literally, he fucking told me, "You're a girl. What are you doing out here by yourself?" I was like, "I fucking live here, dude." I like a party. I was like, I didn't say it like that, but I was like, "I live here." like, oh, hella scared and shit. I was like, I live here. I don't know why I said that. And then I just fucking skedaddled the fuck out of there. Word of advice: do not talk to security guards. I think he cut me some slack, so he saw a wild child just trying to live. And then something fired up inside of me. I was so full of adrenaline that entire time while I was like walking the streets, like looking around, trying to figure out what I was gonna tag first. That when I came back home, like, I thought I was gonna pass out. Like, the adrenaline was so intense. It was so intense. Like, I did. I blacked out little spots of that night. I like just fucking just like fucking in the zone, right? So full of anxiety, but a different type of anxiety. See, like, I told you I was agoraphobic. I told you I couldn't even leave the fucking front door. I told you I have intense paranoias. I told you I got so scared that a couple people from China were coming over to the United States before the lockdown that I stopped going to fucking college type paranoia. Which is rightly so. But this fear was a fear. I was in excitement with anxiety is what it was. It wasn't fear. It was an excitement with a lot of anxiety. And there was a fire lit inside of my fucking belly. And all I can think the next day at work, and I was so deeply paranoid that I was going to get in trouble, because if they fucking find me, there was no way I can afford that shit on my $15.50 job. Like, at fucking all. But the next day I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, I can't let this feeling slip away from me. And I tried chasing that adrenaline rush in more dangerous ways that weren't nearly as fun, and that ultimately did end up destroying my mental health pretty fucking bad for the next year. And this is all last year, I believe. Well, let's check the date on this. My time is fucked up. When you become a hermit, you don't really pay attention to the days. This is 2023, so I was 24. Oh man, I'm gonna be 25. I'm gonna be 26 this year. Sorry. And this was before that situationship. Oh, I was a ticking time bomb. That's okay. My bad. That was before the situationship. I wasn't completely destroyed yet. I was just looking for excitement, is what this was. I had gotten dumped by my first boyfriend, though. It was a beautifully awkward relationship for about 3 months that kind of fucked with me a lot after it happened. Pretty sure he was gay. I mean, like, if he ever sees this and he's like, I'm not fucking gay, I'm bisexual. Like, I'm sorry. You're either gay or just, like, totally not fucking into me. I don't know what to say. Yeesh. But this was, like, me trying to come out of that. Like, what actually happened after that relationship was for, like, 4 or 5 months, I just laid on the couch. Completely fucking out of it. I don't know where I was at that time. Like, I just clonked out. I just cronked out. And then I got a job. I think my mom got me that job. Before that, though, I did go back to college for a semester. Finished up a lot of classes. And then, yeah. A couple months into that job is when I got into the next situationship that really, really fucked with me more. I got shit relationship with men, working on it. And this fire, I didn't want it to die. I was channeling it into a lot of my art. I would pull pieces out for you. Maybe I can show you one or two that might be sitting around over here. These are kind of just empty boards. Nah, unfortunately I don't got any right by me right now. And then 2024. Poor mental health, poor state of being, poor beliefs in myself. I wasn't agoraphobic anymore. I think my job really helped me out a lot. Even when I was working at front desk at the hotel, like a lot of interactions, and then I worked like during the busiest shift, so I was like working with a lot of people, talking to a lot of people, which really helped me break out of my shell, helped me brush up on my interpersonal conversational skills, micro interactions. I'm pretty fucking good at it now. And a little bit of a spoiler alert, I am no longer agoraphobic. I don't really suffer with depression like I did. I no longer struggle with suicidal ideations. I don't even have anxiety anymore. We'll get into that. I really, really wanted to see some live music, though. And I told you earlier, I really like punk. I love metal. I love the culture. And I don't like punk as, like, the style. Like, I grew up with a mom who's got, like, a punk soul, I guess, in her fucking soul, dog. She taught me more about what it means to be punk than actually listening to punk music. Always grew up around it, like Rage Against the Machine and shit like that, but not, you know, like people with mohawks and shit. Always been like an emo kid or like a scene kid, though, so there's that. But there was this band, Rise and Strike, that was, I think they're from my area, I'm not 100%, but I was like kind of like following them around on Instagram everywhere, trying to see where they were going. And I saw that they were doing a show downtown Stockton, California. I was like, I need to be there. And so for like the following couple weeks, I was like looking up the other bands. And there was like one called Cover Slut and Abysmal Piss that I also super got into. And I was determined. Now, at the time I did have anxiety. I was dealing with agoraphobia. Wasn't nearly as bad now, but I still couldn't go to the stores. I could go outside of my house. You know, the thing about agoraphobia isn't that you can't go outside ever. You find comfort zones. So somebody with agoraphobia can have a full-time job. And they can leave their house to go to work. But they find like it being an extension of their home, of their inner sanctum, of their personal space. And we accommodate these needs because the mind is an incredible machine that will do incredible fucking things to help you survive the world. And so work, my house, my family's house was the best that I can do for myself at the time. And going to a punk show in a small space crowded with people I don't fucking know, that's something I've never done before, at least not since high school. And I had my cousin come with me who's not into punk at all, but I'm so very fucking thankful that he came and he actually enjoyed himself. But I had to get fucking plastered. I think I bought a bottle of Mad Dog 2020, the blue ones. That shit hits. That shit fucking hits. And I drank that shit down, bro. And I drank like 4 Mike's Hard Lemonades on the way there. And I was letting loose. I even went to the mosh pit for a little bit. Like, I really, really stepped out of my shell. Thanks to the help of my cousin. And that fire reignited. It didn't cure my anxiety, but something in me was like, I'm alive. God damn it. I'm alive and I refuse to die again. And if you let me fucking die, you might as well just fucking choke on a bullet. Swear to God. And I couldn't quiet it this time. I couldn't quiet it. So I waited anxiously for the next show. And the next show is the story that I originally wanted to tell. I'm sorry I'm 36 minutes in, but it gets kind of fun. And this was the show that cured me of my agoraphobia 100 per fucking cent. I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened. I don't know how to explain to you the phenomenon that it was. But something powerful in my awkward little self. Something happened. There was another show at the Hatchet Workshop, and Abysmal Piss, I believe, was playing there. I don't know. I don't even remember anymore. And that day, I was desperately looking around for somebody to go with. I was like, please, just go with me. All my cousins, like, yeah, none of them are metalheads. None of them listen to punk. They don't fuck with it. Like, at all. They just don't fuck with it. And nobody could go. But I was running errands with my cousin, and we went to the dollar store. And I saw a deck of Uno cards. I don't have them here, unfortunately. I would have pulled them out for you. But I saw a deck of Uno cards, and I was like, wouldn't it be so funny if I just pulled out these cards in the middle of the pit and started playing with people? I was just kidding, right? And my husband was like, oh, you're funny. And took her home. And then I drove to the show. I showed up 30 minutes early, and then I waited until they opened the doors, and I was the first person to pull up. And when I got there, I got an X on the back of my hand and all these butterflies in my stomach. And as I'm standing there, I realize I don't know what the fuck to do. You see, when I went to the last show, it was like 5 minutes before the show started. I was drunk as shit. I was fucking lit. I had people with me to talk to in those awkward moments between the music not playing and the music playing. And I was also on a lot of Adderall. So there was like a lot of components at play. This time I was just hit my vape once or twice. And I didn't drink. And I didn't know what to do. And I was standing there very awkwardly, the only fucking person in the entire venue, besides like the band setting up. So I went to the guy who put the X on my back of my hand, and I pulled out this deck of Uno cards. And I was like, do you want to play Uno with me? And he was like, yeah. Yeah, let's play some fucking Uno. So at first it's me and him, and then he calls some guy in. He's like, you want to play Uno? And the other guy was like, yeah, let's play some Uno. And then like 2 more guys joined the table, and then 2 more people joined the table. And suddenly people are switching spots to play Uno at the front door, and this guy's like selling tickets and marking backs of X's, and all these people are passing by me, and I'm trying to focus on how the fuck I play this game, because I don't think I've ever actually played Uno once in my entire life before this game. And I'm meeting all these people, and some of them are in the band, and some of them are super familiar with the area, and some of them are regulars, and everybody knows each other. And here I am in the middle of all of this action happening around me, all of this life, and I'm dressed up in my best fucking outfit that I could get at the time, and it was fun. And then somebody was like, "Do you want to hit this blunt?" And I was like, yeah, I want to hit the blunt. And I hit the blunt, and then we smoke, and we talk, and we're hanging out, and then the anxiety starts sucking on my fucking face. My face starts getting hot, and my belly starts tightening, and my shoulders start hunching, and my voice is leaving my mouth, and my throat is clamping, and I don't know what to do, and I can't stop sweating, and I'm fat, and I'm ugly, and all these fucking people are around me, and they're fucking looking at me, and they're talking to me, and they don't even know my goddamn name. Who am I? Who do I think I am, just walking into this fucking place thinking it's okay for me to enjoy something for once in my life? Ridiculous, Joe. Get the fuck out of here. So I stand up hella quick. I gotta go pee. They're like, you can use the porta potty if you want to, little Uno girl. And I'm like, you don't understand. I need to look in the fucking mirror right now. So I walk away. And I never return to the table, because men terrify me. And they were hot. They were so hot. And I'm not even going to lie to you. That is where the anxiety came from. If there was a couple more ugly dudes who look like they fucking play Dungeons and Dragons, and not to say that you play Dungeons and Dragons that are ugly. I've met some fine ass D&D players in my fucking life, and I'm just like, thank the Lord you exist. All right, you are breaking stigmatisms out here. Stigmatism. We're just gonna leave that in there. Y'all are breaking stigmatisms. I go to the bathroom. There's like 4 or 5 people, and they're doing coke. So part of me was like, how do I get in on that? And then the other part was like, no, we're doing this right. We're gonna remember this fucking day. Then I see this girl. I just introduce myself to her. Very unlike me to do. I see this other girl. I introduced myself to her, and she's got 2 friends with her, so I introduced myself to them, and suddenly there's me and this group of women just talking, meeting each other, interacting, mingling, talking about fun things and dumb things and sweet things and neat things. And then the first band plays, and it's not so awkward anymore when the music stops playing. I'm standing next to people who I don't know, but we've somehow bonded miraculously over this night. And I'm taking pictures of people who I think look really cool. And I go up to them and I ask, can I take a picture of you? I really like your outfit. They're like, yeah. And I'm viewing the band, and I'm bobbing my head, and I'm feeling the music, and I'm stomping my feet, and I'm cheering them on, and it was great. I even met this girl who, after the first band played and the friends all went to go meet their other friends, I stand outside to hit my vape. And I see this girl standing by herself, and she looks a lot like my best friend, who's no longer my best friend anymore. Like, a lot like her. Tall, thick-ass hips, thick-ass lips, straight, slightly wavy, silky hair, dark lipstick, big cat eyes, chocolate brown eyes. I'm just drawn to her. And I walk up to her and I say, hey, did you come by yourself? She's like, yeah, I did. I got some friends in there, but I'm too nervous to say hi. I was like, you should say hi. I wish I had some friends here. But you can hang out with me if you want. And so she does. She clings to my side the entire show, but I got this awkward feeling because she looks so much like my best friend, and this feeling of suffocation's slowly creeping its way up my belly. But if it wasn't for that feeling, I wouldn't have pushed myself to talk to more people, to kind of separate myself from this girl that is reminding me of my best friend, and out of the corner of my eye, I swear to God she's standing next to me. I swear she's here with me. Somewhere in spirit, she's experiencing this moment that we probably both desperately wanted to enjoy our entire fucking lives, but never got the chance to. But the truth is, I'm by myself. It's a bunch of strange people who don't know how fucking strange I am, but they all know how strange each other are. And I kind of feel like I belong, but I also feel like a stranger. I kind of feel like I could make a home here, but I'm also a vagabond. So really, I'm just passing through. But the music is good. The crowd is fucking wonderful. And that game of Uno with a bunch of hot guys. Yes. Yes. You guys don't know what you did for me. Thanks for being so nice and welcoming. Truly. Really fucking truly. And then the show ends, and I go up to this band, Snuff Tapes. Take a video of their little bit, and I buy some albums that I listen to this day from some other bands. And I go home, and that fire in my belly isn't burning me anymore. It's warm, and it's spreading throughout other parts of my body, and I can just hear it saying over and over again, thank you so much, I had so much fun today. I had a lot of fun today. Thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome, and thank you for warming me up, and thank you for setting me on fire, and thank you for telling me to not let you die, because I have done that to you so many times, and you never complained about it either. And I just feel really good. And then I go home and I wait for the next show to happen. And that one was kind of a disaster. I got drunk again, and I got fucking plastered. It wasn't fun. That day when I went home, after that show, with the Uno cards, I did cry on my drive, because it's so lonely when you have a lot of fun and you're driving in your car by yourself. And you know nobody there is really waiting for you. Obviously my cat. And you know tomorrow the fun is not going to happen anymore. You're going to have to figure out what the fuck to do and how to keep the fire alive. And all you can do is hold on. Right? And practice a lot of that. Like how to hold on to the good times. Better than holding on to the bitter times and the sad times and the dark times. I don't have allergies. I've just been crying all day. And wait for the next show. Somewhere around the next show, this job, my timeline might be fucked up. I might not have even been working at the time. I can't even tell you the year. I had to have been like 24 when this happened though. And then around 25 is when I met like my next situationship that absolutely fucking crushed me. But he inspired me in different ways to really step out of my zone. That fire was still there, but it was diminishing. Because I did end up working at a liquor store. I didn't end up like isolating, not in an agoraphobic way, but it was isolating. There was less shows happening for bands that I was interested in seeing. I was really focused on my art at the time, so I was doing like a lot of that shit, like a lot of fucking art. And all of this led up to this grand, miraculous, impulsive decision Much like the graffiti, much like the show, much like my first situationship, much like my art, and photography, music making, and friend making, and talking to strangers, and playing Uno cards, and all this shit, to an open mic at a bookstore. That really changed everything for me, because I realized I wasn't like afraid of people. I was so nervous at that Uno table with those hot guys because they were seeing me. And the more I realized their eyes were looking at my eyes and my nose and my mouth and my cheek and my hair and my breast and like me, I was like, and I don't mean to say breast like in a perverted way, but like obviously I'm a woman. Like they notice that I'm a woman, which is very weird for me. I just was afraid of being seen. Wasn't afraid of the monsters and kidnappers and coronavirus. I was afraid of having a light on me. I was afraid of people looking at me with their soul. I was afraid of being myself. And more importantly, I was afraid of expression. Because I posted my art on my Instagram story, which frequents around 20 viewers, and I know all of their names. But this open mic, I had chosen some hard-hitting pieces that really talked about wanting to be seen and wanting to speak. Speak. Keep speaking and never seize the winds that blow through your hair. Speak up, girl, speak up. I do open mics to this day. I have a lot of fun. I'm making a name for myself in my community, which is like really fucking cool. I recently won an award, and when they introduced me, they're like, this is an up and coming voice in the community who's doing a lot of work at Word Bubbles and at the bookshop, and really enjoy writing. And people know my name, Joe. They call me Joe. Like, I haven't been called Joe since like fucking high school, dude. That was crazy. I was going by my family name because the only people who were calling my name were my family, and the only people who knew I existed was my family. Why am I so emotional talking about myself? I hate it. It was crazy. Life is fucking insane, and the more I tried to not live life, of course, the more I was miserable. Just fucking miserable. And I started living life. And I'm not talking about jumping off of planes and going to these crazy parties and, you know, I'm just talking about doing things I like to do, dude. Showing off my art, going to see live music, fucking going to the mall and going shopping, going on car drives to the fucking grocery store, listening to albums that I like in the car. Got fat because I started eating food I liked. Like, cutting my hair. I mean, like, it's a bad haircut, but I fucking did it, dude. I fucking did it, and like, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I fuck with it because I've been rocking chops since I could first start running with scissors. I self-destruct when I lose control and try to add some fucking layers. So yeah. More recently, I've been streaming. You can follow me on Twitch at Joski_Joe. Watch me play Red Dead. I wanna be a cowboy, baby. And I don't know. I wanted to share this because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are just as miserable as I was. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with their mental health. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are struggling with finding their voice. And people wonder, what the fuck does it mean to find my voice? What does it mean to be myself? What does it mean to break out of my box? What does it mean to press limits? What does it mean to do this? What does it mean to do that? I'm telling you, just listen to what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what I did that day at the show. I just asked somebody to play some Uno cards with me, and I introduced myself to one stranger and then the next. And you're probably sitting here like, you're a girl, you could do that. You could do that. Why don't you? I'm not gonna preach. I'm really fucking good at it though. What does it mean to find your voice? It means in the moment when there's something that you want to do, and it's going to be hard to differentiate between the thing you want to do that's impulsive and bad for you and the thing you want to do that's impulsive and good for you, because they feel a lot the same. One is self-sabotage, and the other is planting a seed. One, you're going to regret. The other, you're going to laugh to yourself about, because you're gonna be like, I fucking did that. You're gonna be like, yes. Yes. Even if it's like 2 years later and you're finally proud of yourself for that. But just gotta make a move. I've always been, which is ironic, people are always like, oh, I want to do this thing, I don't know how to do it. I'd be like, dude, just fucking do it. What do you mean you want to do it but you don't know how to do it? What do you mean you want to do it and you have like this plan in your head but you haven't like actually made any proactive movements towards it? What the fuck is the point of all that planning then? And here I was spending 2 years planning to go to a fucking show. You know what I mean? Like, but it really doesn't get done until you do it, no matter what it is. It doesn't get done until you do it, until you make that step, until you do something outside of your comfort zone. That, my friend, is stepping outside of the box. Until start talking about things you like with people who don't know you like these things. That's finding your voice. It's expressing yourself in ways that you haven't actually been able to articulate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect with what you say. My first show was a fucking wreck. I think I posted it on YouTube and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta take that down. I mean, like, I'm stumbling over my words, I'm anxious, I'm shaking. You can't see it on camera, but my knees are like actually buckling. I had to like tighten them up so I literally wouldn't kneel over. Now I go to shows and I like speak really loud into the microphone. You know what I mean? Like, one day I'm gonna grab that bitch right out of its fucking handle and I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna start walking around. Start swinging the wire around like a fucking lasso. Hear me, bitch. You're not gonna find your voice first time you try to use it. It just doesn't happen that way. Maybe the second time, you might hear it. You might feel it. The third time, aren't you practicing that second time? Oh my God. And the fourth time, it's gonna click. You're gonna get it. Then the fifth, and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and the ninth, and the 10th, that's more practice, baby. And then one day you're gonna have it. One day I'm gonna have it. I don't know what it is I want to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I just told you it's fucking 12 in the morning. And I really am just feeling chatty. I want to talk to somebody, like, in an expressive way. And not in what kind of bounties we pulling today, yo, kind of way. You know what I mean? And so I did it. And you know what made me nervous about starting this? I'm in a studio apartment, so my mom, if she wakes up, can hear everything I'm saying, perfect clarity. Fortunately, she's knocked the fuck out. She can't. And I was worried about that. So I am still afraid to use my voice. There are a lot of poems I want to share, but I don't get around to it because I'm scared of that type of more intimate and deeper expression, because it's not coming out the way I want it to come out. I am scared to go to big ass concerts, and also I'm broke. Still scared to get a job this one, but I'm practicing every day. Every day, I've clocked in like a fucking job. Honestly, I think my mom understands that this is work too. You know what I mean? I got a new mic. It looks like a microphone. This is practice, friend. It's the little things, really. Yeah, plant seeds. And I've given you a story of a ton of seeds I planted. And it started when I was 17. I don't know how old you are. But I know you got some seeds planted in there. And I know that if you paid attention to them, gave them a little bit of water, they'll start to flourish. One day, in the midst of the most manic episode I've ever had in my entire life, like hallucinating rain. I don't even know. It might have actually rained that day. I don't care if it was a hallucination brought on by grief. It rained that day. In the middle of summer, it rained. But I walked outside, and between the wall and the planter, there's this line of rocks, and at the end of it is where the water hose is at. A little bit of water trickles all the way down there. I walked outside one day though, and I saw some lilies. These lilies are called, they're little divas, these ones. They were pink lilies. You probably know which ones I'm talking about. And they got a very particular name to them. Let's find out what they are. But they just popped up out of nowhere. These little fucking flowers. Out of nowhere, they just came out. And it was like, for the first time in my life, I felt seen by the universe in my deepest, darkest moments. These pink lilies. What's that singer's name? She's got a name. Bella Donna Lilies. That's what they're called. And I felt something shift. It's like a physical manifestation and representation of some of the work that I've put in. I didn't plant those fucking things. There was really no way anybody could have planted them right there. I have like a flower graveyard, and I think like one of the seeds from one of my bouquets ended up there and it sprouted. So I guess this is just about planting seeds from somebody who planted quite a few of them, and a lot of them didn't grow. I told you I made music, right? Where's that at? This wasn't my thing, I guess. And that's okay, because the ones that do grow are resilient little fucks, and they're the ones that want to those are the ones that want to be harvested by you the most. Guess that's all I got to say. I don't really feel like chatting anymore. Joski out.